game up front and back.
Well, I wanted to imply in the title that this was the last, because it definitely puts a full stop at the end of the sentence. Other nationalities which historically don't understand English humour get this, the joke about it being the first final. So it's a kind of a reference to all those kind of, the Cher and people that sort of come back again and again and again, and do the first final farewell reunion tour and all this kind of thing. So it's meant to be funny, but the bottom line is that it is the final tour. I started talking to Tony, my manager, Ian Smith, about what to do. Could we do a kind of tour of maybe the places we've only ever played once? And then I said, if you do a month of shows, I'll do it.
So I thought, well, that's not going to work, because I know the kind of show I want to do, and the economics won't work apart from anything else.
Now listen to me now, a month. Yes, and a month in America, and a month. I said, no. Anyway, we went on like that, and so of course we're doing a month in Europe, and we're doing a month in America.
And the fact that it's sort of moved from theatres to 50,000 seat stadiums, well, that's a kind of management trick, really. So.
And of course it's a 5-week month. You give him a month, and it's like, yeah, but this month's got 5 weeks in it, all right? So it's always take more than they get, to give them an inch. My premise was to just take all the songs that I felt I should play. So I got out my albums and just looked at the back covers and wrote down the hits, the songs that were important.
Bonsoir Paris!
Face value, there was In the Air Tonight, there was I Missed Again. Okay, Hello, I Must Be Going, there was obviously You Can't Hurry Love, and I went through the big tunes first, and then I went back to see if there's anything else. And realised that I can't really sing for more than 2.5 hours every night, so you're governed by that. There are a few things. I wanted to start on the drums, and I wanted to finish on the drums, and so there's a drum thing in there. But I did just scan the albums and chose the ones that I knew people would want to hear, that I was quite happy to sing, and actually take back to the original versions, some of them. Against All Odds is much more the way it was, except for the sax solo. One More Night is back to the way it used to be. So there's lots of things that have reverted to their original state, and some we've played around with. Close your eyes, hold my hand, you'll be all right. Come With Me is about my son, although the melody was written around the time that Lily was born. So it really is a kid's song. Come with me, close your eyes. I had an idea at the last minute almost to say, why not take the two hands from the little doodle that I did on the album and move them together slowly, so at the end of the song they touch. And it just works. And at the end of that song every night, I kind of, okay, that worked,
To lose my number, you're sure not anywhere where I can find you. Oh, baby.
This band, I would say, comes back more from the 1990 tour with Leland Sklar playing bass and Chester back on the drums again. So this is kind of going back a little more than a decade and bringing back that old band again. So it feels nice. It's sort of like a retro group again.
This is an amazing band, actually. I mean, and even the other things we've done, we've done the much shorter things, promoting, his album and promoting Brother Bear and Tarzan and all of that. It's only taken a very few days rehearsal to really get things dialed in quickly. So it's a pretty special group of people, I think.
Out of the shadows and into the night now, baby, don't you lose my number.
It's just one of those gifts that every once in a while you get handed is a show like this and a group like this, and you just get to Really do what you enjoy doing at its peak performance. I mean, because the whole crew, everybody involved, the lighting people, the sound people, are all as good as there is in this profession. So it raises the bar for everybody, makes you work that much better at it.
In the old days, bands really formed from friendships, you know. Three guys, you know, and if your other friend, if he didn't play an instrument, he played the bass. That's what it usually ended up like. You don't play anything? All right, well, you play bass. But there were groups of friends, and then from then it developed, you know.
Well, when I met him, you know, I had long blonde hair, great record collection, groovy chat. Lost all that now, so he's. It hasn't changed at all, really. I don't think he's the same Phil as I knew when we were kids. You know, just with a bit more money, I suppose.
I met him in '96 for the first time with the big band. I played with a lot of different acts and things like that, and when you work with Phil, he's not just a singer, he's also a musician.
Luis Conti is clearly one of the greatest percussionists in the world. There is no doubt about it. Leland is a legend. He's been a legend for 30 some odd years as a bass player. And Daryl has been with Phil in Genesis since 1978. Chester played with Frank Zappa, played with Weather Report. I mean, I'm in very, very select company here.
And of course Arnold's not with us because we had an accident the first day he was here. He fell over and tore all his ligaments, so he's back in LA having an operation. Hopefully he'll be with us at some point, but he's out for the European tour.
That was a first day of rehearsal. To see him go through that and then to find out he's got to fly home and have surgery and all of this.
When I went up the stairs for Wear My Hat to do the bit with Arnold, I thought about it. I thought, is he going to follow me? I hope he does follow me because it'd be good to rehearse the bit. But I hope he's careful because, you know, I'm thinking all this while I'm singing, you know. And I went down the stairs slowly and then I ran across the stage and he ran across the stage after me and then his leg gave out.
I can't even imagine how depressed he was when the reality set in that he actually didn't just sort of hurt himself and he's going to go put some ice on his leg kind of thing, that this was actually a really terrible injury that was going to require major surgery. So, you know, I've known Arnold now for close to 30 years, and I feel so bad for him because he lives for this.
He was crying. It was very sad because he just arrived. He couldn't wait to do this tour because it's the last one. He's been with me since 89, 90, and suddenly that's all taken away from him, you know. So it was very sad.
I miss him, but he'll be back. I keep telling him that I'm going to put his face on a milk carton and put it in front of his mic and say, missing if found, please return to Neuchâtel. So he'll be back.
I've attracted an awful lot of nice people in the crew that would do anything for you, and also in the band. You know, I'm sort of very. I've always been lucky with that, to be honest. But this is a great assembly of people on and off stage.
We try and take the same guys out every time if they're available. You know, if they're not doing other tours. So yeah, for the last 2 or 3 tours, we pretty had much the same crew. Yeah.
It's a family. I mean, it's not a great big family in this, but it's a family. You know, Steve Jones, you've met, Howard. Even people that don't get on the tour for one reason or another because they're doing another tour or, you know, they stay in touch.
Right, class. What are your thoughts so far? Stop playing with yourself, Thompson. So we'll pick up the specifics, and if we got time to do the set as well, great.
So we'll be under you wherever you...
One more time. We did a 2.5-hour vocal rehearsal today, which we've never done in all my life, ever. Never done that before. So that was a good experience and something that actually we should do more of. So. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you.
When everybody's on it, it's just, that's the stuff that makes Goosebumps stand up. I want people's arms like full of goosebumps at the end of the show.
Show your true colors, true colors are beautiful.
I'm a lot tireder than I was when we started. I'm amazed actually at how much else there is to do other than just the singing. You know, just the actual doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That's just a small part of this actually. I mean, the program has been, just doing the program has been something that's been quite time consuming. Some people just go out there probably and just say, hey, I don't care what they sell, just sell it, I'll have the money. I like to think that some of the stuff is quality, you know. So you got to look at it, approve it, change it if you don't like it. The program is very personal, and this program was like a retrospective, lots of old pictures from my personal archive that I've kept over the years. But it's things like that, and then sitting down with the lighting designer and the lighting operator, Vince and Telson, going over what they've done and what you think they could do and what you'd like to have happen. Sound, we've had to do the same thing with that. We've had to stay late some nights to listen to the CD again. You know, that what we've recorded in the afternoon, go back and listen to the sound and make sure that's finished and, you know, tweaked.
Right before, it would happen right before we go into the bridge and right before the sax solo, kind of as a lead into the.
But I'm doing. We'd been rehearsing for 4 days without the singers and without the horns, just getting the basic songs kind of ready, and then the singers came in, and that was great because we had a vocal rehearsal, which you've seen. And that took it to another level. But when the horns came in, all the bits that you kind of felt like vamping space, you know, there was suddenly, the reason why there was the space was there because of the horn charts. So they've made a big difference.
They miss us for 2 weeks, and then we walk in and, yeah, all right, where were you guys? And all that kind of stuff. We love that, you know, come in quietly kind of thing.
It's like the bear pit. This is down there is my drum kit for In the Air Tonight, which spectacularly, we hopefully rises on this riser, comes up to here for In the Air Tonight. Anyway, and we hope that it's going to work because I did a show in Ghent on the last tour in '97. And the drum kit was supposed to come up in the middle of the stage, and it didn't. And so I'd walk around the stage, we did the whole tune, and when it come to da-da and da-da and da-da, there was a big hole in the ground with my drum kit sitting on the floor right at the bottom. So I didn't really know what to do, so I jumped. So I jumped in the hole, and I played the whole thing in this hole. Anyway, hopefully that won't happen, otherwise I'll be jumping, but it's a bit farther to jump this time. We always take the families on the road, you know, but I've never taken my dog before. So Jack, my faithful terrier, someone's going to have to take him out for a walk first thing in the morning. I'm not. Someone's going to have to take him out last thing at night. I'm not. So I'm thinking of getting him on stage for Wear My Hat. I thought the idea of having a dog running around on stage amongst us running around, and he's pretty good. I might better get him with a hat as well. And if that happens, even if it's only for a couple of minutes, you know, that was a dog I saw, wasn't it? I had finishing touches, you know. That was Mad Dog's an Englishman. Now we need an audience now. I don't think we're going to get much better than this without an audience. And there comes a point where, when with guys like this who are really just, you know, they're fantastic musicians, they just want to play now. And it takes an audience to lift you to the next level.
Okay, no more rehearsing. Hey, it's raining, but we're still gonna play.
Bloody wet out there.
Look at the sky, and you tell me if I'm looking forward to the first stadium show. There's certain camaraderie that happens when it rains. People tend to rally together and sort of, you know, brave the elements. So you get a different kind of atmosphere. It just would be nice if it was sunny. I can't hide the fact that I'm pissed off, but yeah, it could be worse. We've got our health, haven't we? I mean, you've got a lot of people up there, and if everybody wore what they fancied, then it would look a bit of a mess. So we have Eileen and Martha. Eileen's been with us before, and you know, they have an unenviable task of cleaning everything. It's a 16-piece band. They've got to clean everything from night to night, plus the crew throw their laundry in as well. So it's, you know, it's really mum to sort of 40 people.
It's a lot of work. We start at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we finish about 2 in the morning. The hardest part is trying to coordinate everything so everybody's happy, because this person wants to wear this person wants to wear this person wants to wear this, and we can't have them go on. The guys are pretty good. It's when we get to the ladies, that's difficult.
What I wear has got to be light. I can't be sitting there just sort of trousers sticking to you and things like this. So they brought a whole selection of stuff out, and I said, no. Yes, that's there. That feels like great.
He just wears comfortable T-shirts underneath that look very plain, and people say, all he wears is T-shirts. Well, his T-shirts are like 200-pound T-shirts, so they're all designer Armani. Good quality, and they last, and you need something that lasts, because they wear these clothes, they're cleaned every time he wears them. They wear them once, and they're cleaned, so they have to stay together. I'm wearing things that I would wear out on the street. That's my attitude towards it. So I don't dress up. I dress down, really. One more night, just one more night. One more night, 'cause I can live forever. Well, I've been sitting here so long. Yeah, I am today. I don't know why. Just staring at the floor. Now here we are on our luxurious private jet, which does actually make it easier. I dread to think actually what it would be like to travel with this many people at a real airport with a scheduled aircraft, because ever since 9/11, of course, security has been incredibly tight. So you'd have to get to the airport like 3 hours ahead of time. Bags would be lost all over the world. It would be a disaster. So this is really the only way. That's my son. It's the only real way to do it. So we just left Zurich, where we played last night, and we had about 44,000 people there, which was fantastic. Apparently Paul McCartney didn't get that many. So I just thought I'd throw that in. But it was a great gig. Football stadium. And tonight, this is the first back-to-back show we've had. And tonight we're playing in Munich, which is another football stadium, the Olympic Stadium, which is about 47,000 people. And that too is sold out, fortunately, because these places are a bit depressing if they're not sold out.
When we discussed the tour and where we were going to play, Phil and Tony wanted to make it an intimate arena tour, but it became blindingly apparent that when we put tickets on sale in Germany, the demand was 10 times the capacity we had. But in my experience, I've never had an artist upgrade overnight to such big venues through such demand. It's fantastic. It's a brilliant tour because of that.
Paris has always been great, actually. I mean, going right back to Genesis days, it's always been a special town. You know, the French population adopted Genesis years and years before we were really strong in England, never mind anywhere else. And I think there is a special relationship there. They're a fantastic audience.
Look at those people. He's a complete musician.
Each time he comes in Paris, I go to see his show, and I enjoy it each time.
The Paris audience always was just fantastic. And we actually delivered. We played very well tonight. Did very well, so I'm very pleased.
Kevin, just give me a mark on that. I just want to see how close.
Well,
is that too close?
Well, you know, it just I'm trying to sort of forget about it, you know, and it's sort of ramming it down my throat.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Then I'll do is I'll try and work it further away at the front, and I'll try and minimise those, and I'll also try and get them to work slightly higher.
One tends to, and we used to, put all kind of tripwires in front of these directors. They're saying, yes, but you can't have a camera any closer than here. We don't want any more light because this is the show we've designed, you know. And this stretches back for 30 years with Genesis. If you can shoot it just the way we are, you know, but yet when the DVD is finished, we love it. You know, totally unrealistic parameters.
Although on the box it says, you know, Hamish Hamilton, director, I think in a way that's a bit of a misnomer. It should be kind of translator, really. You know, what I do is I go into shows and I translate, in this case, Phil's show to television.
I've been very lucky, actually. The last 2 DVDs we've done, the Seriously Live in Berlin was done the week the wall came down. So Berlin was just like happiness itself. And then the last one, which we did in Paris, that was towards the end of the tour, and it just caught a great show. And I think they've done it this time around as well. And Hamish came down one day to look at the show near the end of rehearsals.
I'd just done a DVD for Peter Gabriel.
And it turned out that he'd been working with Peter, and it turned out he'd been working with Madonna, and it turned out he'd been working with all these people. And I hadn't thought about that. And suddenly we went on stage and played, and I was thinking, he's going to be bored stiff. You know, he's going to be bored stiff. I mean, that's another slow song here. We're going to have to drop this. We're going to have to change this. You know, and straight away it was insecurities. I met him in the toilet afterwards. Right? We'd finished rehearsing, and I went at the loo, and he was there.
Literally, kind of went up to him and said, "I'm Hamish. I'm, you know, the director." It's quite disarming in a gents' toilet, you know.
He said, "That was great." I said, "Yeah," kind of opening up the conversation. I said, "Yeah, we've got to get the pacing, I think, a bit better because I think maybe it's a little bit slow." He said,
"Do you know what? Absolutely not. You know, I mean, the set is like, you know, the soundtrack to your life, really. I mean, it goes back X number of years. They're all absolute hits."
And I came out thinking, I've convinced him, you know. So it was a big moment actually, because you do go through those things where you think, is this slow? Is this, you know, is anybody else bored here? You know.
Take a look at me now, 'cause there's just an empty space. But to wait for you, that's all I can do, and that's what I've got to say.
Actually, last night was the first time that I can remember that I wasn't nervous about having a camera there. The audience was so great. I knew that it would kind of sap all the attention. And I told the band before we went on, I said, just forget about the cameras. You know, like if we get it, we get it. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But there's an audience out there that's going to see us, and that's the most important thing. I was promised. I know what these cameramen are like. No, I said before the show that I didn't want the Steadicam on the stage. It's a cumbersome looking thing. And I was told that it wouldn't be on stage. It would be, though, behind the backing scenes, which I accepted because they're out of the way. It's out of the way. But I did turn around to see a shape disappearing down the stairs very quickly on one of the tunes. Maybe it was early on, like Billy or something. Don't lose my number. Then I really saw it on Sussudio when they were up there getting in the way of my singers. At that point, I lost it.
In the jig sort of shots that we got, I needed that shot. I know, and I got it 5 or 6 times. I didn't think I'd overstepped the mark. I'm about to find out. I mean, he might. You know, I hope he doesn't kill me, but he might be really, really much more upset than I thought he was.
No, I mean, you know, you're there, and you know the shot's going to be good, and you just hope that it doesn't get in anybody's way. And it just that one little moment tonight was could have been a little bit dangerous, but actually, no one, you know, it's cool. I was angry at the time, very angry at the time, and I wasn't angry with him actually. I was angry with the cameraman, but I didn't know it was your fault, so I would have been angry with him. Anyway, we're going out tomorrow night, and we're going to, you know, see where it goes, really.
She's an easy love. She'll take your heart, but you won't take
He's our leader. Probably about 3 weeks from when the accident happened now. 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And he's back, and he can't run around, but he can move, and you can certainly sing.
It was more emotional leaving. I was just excited to be back, you know. The hard part was like walking away from the job. That was the hardest part. The easy part was coming back and saying hello and being greeted, you know, by everyone. That was the good part.
Impressions of success when I was 14, 15 was just, if I could actually make a living playing drums, wouldn't that be great?
Phil's ended up selling 90 million records as a solo artist. If you include his involvement with Genesis and Brand X and all producer stuff and things like that, and other records that he's been involved with, you're probably looking at about 300 million records that he's been involved with, that he appears on in some form or other.
So I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot here by saying I'm not going to do any more. And apart from the big band and the odd showcase thing, I won't. Nicholas is 3, and he's going to be starting school in September 2006. And I made a sort of promise to myself that at that point I would be there to do the things that I wasn't able to do with my other children. I mean, with Lily, to some extent, I did actually, but nevertheless, not as much as I would have wished. Certainly Simon and Jodie I wasn't there for because they moved to Canada. So, you know, I just figured that anything I do has got to work, got to have a cut-off time of September 2006. I didn't intend to make a sort of, you know, speech at the end of the show each night, but actually I do actually say thanks to all the fans, you know, that have been so loyal, and they have, you know, all the way through the Genesis years and my years, and they're all the same people, obviously different generations of them, but so it's turning out to be quite, you know, each night is kind of an emotional experience, you know. I mean, I don't come off sobbing or anything, but I mean, it's actually, it feels like there's a reason for doing it, and it was, from my point of view, it was the right decision to come out and say goodbye properly. Because, you know, at one point I just thought, well, I won't do it anymore. That's it. You know, they've had their last tour. I've done my last tour. Shame, but never. There you go. But I'm really glad I did it, because every night is turning out to be a little bit of a, you know, thank you. Turn the page.
Oh, I gotta go home. Got to go.